Welcome to the Elder One, a Harry Potter podcast. I'm Matt.
And I am Ezra, aka Professor Kirk, a poor professor, by the way. I want to mention this. I think people think I'm making a hot dollar over there at Hogwarts, and I'm really not. Very poor. But we'll get to that here in a second.
Like a Weasley.
Very much like yeah. Yeah. Let me back. We'll get to that because I'm living in the freaking borough right now, and I'm selling everything I got. But friends, welcome. Today we're covering Sorcerer's Stone Part 5, Chapters 13 through 15. Matt, if anyone has followed me on social media, by the way, feel free to follow Matt and I. It's for me, it's gonna be at Womprett_2M, and for Matt, it's at Super Gains Bros. Go check out his video game podcast. By the way, just went over 1,000 over there on YouTube.
Let's go, man.
Happy about that. I was sitting at work and
let's go.
Was looking around at the numbers and stuff, and I thought I saw it sitting there. I said, let's get, just popped right over 1,000. But if you do follow us or you follow me, and let's say we're friends on Facebook or any of the Facebook groups, by God, Matt, I have been selling everything I've got over here. It's like fire everything. We just got done talking about, Lottie and I, relation to travel, the whole 9 yards. It's just crazy. Being married to somebody from Germany. It is wild. It's a wild process. And I've been selling like a crazy person. And it's great. So if you want any, spare, I got some extra podcasting equipment. Don't worry. I'm not selling my current equipment. I've got my stuff. But Matt, over the years, we've upgraded, and I've got extra stuff over there. Did you know, by the way, too, I know I was going to say that I'm actually going to mention this again on Hyperspace. So I sold these figures, and I might as well get this one on the screen because I sold this one just the other day. This is just a little droid figure here. These bad boys are going for like $20 to $30, and I think I paid $5 for this little guy, and it's fantastic. So turning a big profit on that. And you'd be surprised just at what you've got laying around. I'm becoming obsessed with this stuff, the selling of like toys and stuff. I've got so many books. I'm just like, how did I?
Sometimes you got to downsize, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. And I feel like that's where I'm at. So the Burrow connection was definitely a good one. Poor Weasleys. By God, there's nothing wrong with hand-me-down robes and hand-me-down wands and hand-me-down rats. And
I still don't get the how you can be a poor wizarding family. I just don't get it. I mean, you can literally, you don't have a water bill. Accio water, boom,
right?
What is it? What's the word? What is Accio? Well, you could Accio
yeah,
water.
you could summon it.
What? Oh God, now I'm blanking. It's like a quick. I don't know what's Harry.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah, when they make water. Yeah, water apiro. I think is what it is. Yeah,
it's not water apiro.
I'm just making.
It's like aqua something.
Yeah, it is. It is. Oh my gosh,
I gotta look it up. But you know what I'm saying? It's not like you have. It's not like you have a aguamente. There we go.
Aguamente, baby.
Aguamente. That sounds Spanish.
Yeah.
Aguamente.
I also failed Spanish.
I sucked at Spanish.
I think we're in the same class.
Now wait. Now here's a question. What happens if you are they the same spells in different languages?
Oh, that's a great question. No, I'm guessing
is it the name of the spell?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just no? I don't know. Magic's weird. But anyway, I just don't get how you could be a poor family. Again, you don't have a water bill. Boom, aguamente, you got water. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I don't, Mundungus later on, Fletch, he's wheeling and dealing with, stuff in the streets, and he seems kind of poor himself, like he's just falling on hard times. It's like you said, I mean, I guess I guess there is a law enforcement. So maybe if you are breaking some rules and they basically say, nope, you're poor, you got to stay poor. I don't know. I think it's more their children, right? They have so many children, and Molly's a stay at home mom,
sounds
right?
Like and the job.
Hey, that's a lot of kids to take care of. Okay,
that is.
How dare you?
People here do it all. There's single moms with like 6 kids, and they make it, and they're busting their butt.
That's true. And again, this is just the way that they've decided to live their lives. I bet she does do some side. I bet she sells.
She's got those
sweaters. Muscle. Yeah, I guarantee she does. But yeah, the jobs. I mean, maybe the ministry I don't know. It doesn't pay as well. I mean, she does throughout the series. Whenever Arthur gets a raise or he gets like a promotion at work, it's kind of a big deal, and I love that.
You're right.
It's kind of great. But yeah, they just don't. The Burrow. I like the Burrow though. You know,
Oh,
I
it's a
know
cool
Ron.
building.
Well, like from Ron's perspective, it always. I think because he's the youngest son and he's getting all these hand-me-downs. I don't know, man. I maybe that's what it is. Is that they when they bought stuff, right? It was for the older siblings, and it's just been passed down. And he gets all that, whereas the older ones don't maybe feel that way as much. But from his perspective, it's maybe they're more poor. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I love them. Love the freaking Weasleys, and wouldn't change it at all. But starting to feel a little bit like I'm living in the Burrow, and it's not a bad thing actually. It's kind of fun selling stuff. You know this, Matt. My dad and his yard selling abilities. Like we every year have a garage sale and a yard sale, and there's a difference, right? The yard sale comes out into the yard, and the garage sale is
Right.
in the garage. People, okay, and we do two of them,
Right.
one separate.
I
So,
don't sell anything. I'm a hoarder. I'm like that room in Harry Potter, in Deathly Hollows where they're
oh yeah,
trying to find
the room of
it's
requirement.
right. The room of requirement is just flooded with stuff in it. Yeah, that's like me. I'm a hoarder.
Yeah, that's okay though. You know that's you're the type of guy though. Then that we would. What's that? American Pickers. They go and they pick through
Right.
all the.
I
Oh
like
my
that
god,
show.
I love that show. Freaking love that show. But
All
yeah,
right. Well, here's what's crazy. And
yeah,
I guess I'm just looking at this kind of interesting. Secrets of Dumbledore is coming out.
yep.
And there's been like no advertising for it.
What's going on? Is it bad?
Well, I don't know. It's February, it's coming out in April, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I Warner Brothers right now is just dumping every single penny they have into advertising the Batman, which looks awesome, by the way,
Right.
and is getting excellent reviews. It's getting its early reviews right now. AMC Theater actually just gave it this sort of award that they've only it's sort of like for what they consider like a masterpiece movie. And in their pre-screening, and only one other movie in history has ever gotten one other comic book movie in history has ever gotten it, which was the Joker, and the Batman just got it. But I would have to imagine that at some point here soon, we should be getting another Dumbledore trailer
Mm-hmm.
or something. So maybe a little bit past the Batman. Once that comes out, then we should start to see a little more trailers and stuff for this.
Yeah. So when did you say Batman was coming out again?
Batman, I believe, is March 4th.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, yeah, because Lottie stayed. Like we actually pushed her date to stay here so we can go see the Secrets of
Right.
Dumbledore.
There'll
And
probably be another trailer
yeah, yeah.
at the Batman.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Remember that when movies came out and there were trailers at the beginning of movies and stuff. Wow, I
Right.
forgot about it. Yeah, that would be cool. So you're right. It's been kind of quiet because they're pushing Batman. Here is something though. I just pulled up some news. I'm just searching real quick. Fantastic Beast 4. I don't know if this is Screen Rant, and this is the news one
Who
day
knows?
ago.
They're right.
Right? I
They're
don't
a
know.
little iffy.
A little iffy. Doesn't have a script yet. Is that a normal thing, right? Is this I think they're trying to point out here
No,
that
that's
they're
fine.
they're a little worried that it doesn't have a script at all. I
No,
don't know if
I
that
wouldn't be. I would not be worried about that.
okay. I mean, maybe you got to see how this first movie goes, right? And see if there are things that
Warner Brothers typically also does things very different than Disney, right?
mhm,
Disney's got this like big like 30 movie plan that they've got for everything. But even then, on their Star Wars side, that's not always the case. Warner Brothers is a little different. Like Dune, they did
mhm,
not. They had stuff like set to go for the second Dune movie, but they didn't have it like penciled in beforehand, saying we're gonna do the second one.
right,
So
right.
they always like leave the door open in case something flops.
You're right, right.
Whereas rather than to sort of push forward and say, hey, but I don't think Secrets of Dumbledore is gonna flop. Will the box office numbers be a little bit lower? Perhaps. Could be. Just because of COVID. And who knows where we'll be by then with a bunch of states are getting ready to lower mask restrictions.
Mhm,
Hopefully that means because COVID's going down. But the last time that happened, right, COVID shot way up. So who knows what it's going to be
mhm.
like then.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's
that could
interesting.
impact its box office numbers.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just hoping for good things, just really want this to do well. Can I just as I'm diving down this little rabbit hole here, Screen Rant coming in clutch here with something else. This is a Tycho Dodonis prophecy, and there's something in the title. I didn't see this at all. This might be something we could throw up on YouTube here. But I guess there's some theory, credence. So we're wondering like his identity, that there might be like another. I remember at the end of the last film, it's revealed that he's air quote a Dumbledore. But
Yes.
that's Grindelwald who is saying that, and is that really the case with the Phoenix and all that? That the title is hinting that there's another identity twist here, that we're going to twist back to something, a prophecy, Tycho's prophecy. There are wings of water in the title image, and so yeah, so the Waterbird Fantastic Beasts 3 title image hints at another potential identity twist for credence by making a direct reference to the predictions of Tycho Dodonis. The fact that Grindelwald doesn't know about the baby swap can mean a myriad of things. He could simply be lying about Credence's identity, or he may think that Corvus Lestrange is indeed a Dumbledore, or that Lita was the only person who knew Corvus drowned, and the first time she told the story to anyone was at the Lestrange mausoleum, the night that she was killed by Grindelwald. However, it's also possible that Corvus somehow survived drowning in 1901, confirming the wizard and seer Tycho Dodonis' prophecy. This is all crazy. The prophecy is like a son cruelly banished, despair of the daughter, return great avenger with wings from the water. And so it's the with wings from the water that people are looking at this title and saying, now, wait a second, does that theory have some credence? Is there some Sarah? I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of a wild thing that just popped out of here, and I don't know if other people have come across this. I love you diving down the predictions for the film and theories and whatnot. Reddit's taken up with this, I guess, and people are talking about how there are references to, gosh, a lot of different stuff. His name, what does his name mean? Dude, this is a whole thing. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to throw that out there for folks in case you haven't come across any of that.
We'll be diving into it more as it gets closer.
Yeah, we can even do an extended edition on it too. I can go through and kind of read the whole thing. That just popped as you're searching. You're like, holy smoke, what is this fantastic, theory I've stumbled across? And I love the twist. We got to have some, because otherwise, like you'd said before, all right, it's just Dumbledore fighting Grindelwald. How does it happen? And how is this all tied? What is the twist? What is the?
I am hoping to like this movie more than I did the other two.
Yeah. And I liked them too. I like the movies, but it's the Jacob.
They're just sort of. It's almost like they're a little, I'm a little disappointed with them, to be honest. Like, not that they're bad. It's just like, I feel like the potential. It's like I feel like the potential is there. Yeah. You're not entirely sure what to do with it yet.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she should have
there's a lot of good pieces there.
Yeah.
But they just haven't sort of figured out how to make it work, like to be like to knock it out of the park yet.
Right. Yeah, it's different. And hopefully this is the one that kind of brings a lot of this together and gets a little bit more epic. Or, I mean, not that the last one wasn't epic. It was. It's just,
I feel like they're it's almost a little too overwhelming. Like, you've got all of this really cool stuff, but you don't ever show us enough of it. Till I'd almost rather you just sort of focus on one thing and be like, oh, this is going to be the driving narrative of this movie. And that'd be awesome. Because it's just like we're bouncing all over the place. And it's like, wait, are we going to focus on, Jacob's story? Are we going to focus on Newt's story? There's like all these different love interests, but they're just like barely like hinting at them. Then you've got Dumbledore going on and Grindelwald and it's just credence, and it's like, man, they can't decide like, hey, we're gonna this is gonna be the focus of these movies. I mean,
yeah, didn't you say it'd be better?
Newt's romance has like 20 minutes of total on screen time, but they talk about it as if like you've seen it and you haven't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know you are just thrust into all of this action and everything's just kind of swirling around you, and you're like, wait, what's going on? You got to like pay attention to the newspaper headings and stuff. They're just where they're
Right.
dropping information is crazy. So I get that. I actually thought, yeah, when we started this whole thing, I had no idea this was going to be like a Dumbledore Grindelwald situation. I thought, oh, cool, it's just some crazy backstory with this wizard who found Fantastic Beast, but it has not a whole lot to do. I mean, maybe he's going to use them more. I mean, he uses them in every episode and comes across them, but it's just, yeah, interesting. Hey, Nicholas Flamel has been in these episodes or
Right.
these movies, so that's kind of cool.
Well, and
reference.
we're gonna be talking about him today. So you know what? Let's go ahead and let's dive in. So today, as we're talking about chapters 13 through 15, right? So
Right.
almost at the end of the Philosopher's or Sorcerer's Stone, depending on which part of the world you live in. So here we go. Chapter 13, Nicholas Flamel. Harry learns that Professor Snape will referee the next Quidditch match. Nicholas Flamel is found. Gryffindor wins over Hufflepuff when Harry grabs the snitch after only 5 minutes. Harry follows Snape into the Forbidden Forest where he meets Quirrell and they speak of the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, my friend. So Nicholas Flamel is found, and he's really found, and he's really real. By the way, I want to mention this before we started. He's a real guy, a French scribe, manuscript seller, but he's famous. Why? He's famous after his death. Okay, the man died supposedly, and has developed a reputation as an alchemist, and discovered the Philosopher's Stone, and thereby achieved immortality. I is he real? Born in, I mean,
You mean
1330?
you mean there was a person in our real life called that, or you're saying in the context of
I do.
the book?
I don't know. Looks like
Is
he's
that
got,
like
you know, the
is that an actual historical figure that she pulled from? Are you is that what
I
you're
think
saying?
so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, he is I'm pretty sure. Go look it up. Is Nicholas Flamel real? Because
You're
it
right.
seems
It's a real deal.
real guy,
This is a real
right?
deal. I did not know that. And so I was like, hold on. Well, that's the first thing that comes up is the Harry Potter wiki. No,
Yeah.
you are correct. Nicholas Flamel was a real person. Discovered the Philosopher's Stone. I did not ever know that that was like a real deal.
Yeah, crazy. And I'm sitting here
These
going,
legendary accounts appear in the 17th century. Hold
dude,
on a second here. We got to dive
Merlin's
down.
beard.
Or
Merlin's freaking,
maybe we do our deep dive in extended edition and we just
yeah, we could do
no,
that.
hold on a
No, hold
second
on. So
here.
what do you got? What's going on?
Have you looked at this?
Some of it, yeah. I've been trying. It kind of had me like.
Have you looked at the Philosopher's Stone?
I don't know if I clicked on it just yet. Let me see here. Yeah, why?
I'm about to blow your mind.
What is it? What is it? Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see it
Oh wait.
on my screen?
Oh my. Oh my. I just clicked back over. Hold on a second. Did she just rip off the whole freaking?
Who knows, man?
It's the Philosopher's Stone. That is new to me. Is that it's
Is an
a
alchemical symbol. It's a circle with a triangle in it, and then you've got
Deathly
another. Then you've
Hallows.
got it's the Deathly
It's our
Hallows.
freaking logo, dude. Wow. It's just missing the Elder
No,
Wand.
yeah. Well, no, our logo is this Philosopher's Stone symbol. All right, it's a historical symbol that is not at all subject to any sort of copyright laws. Okay,
Right.
they're ripping off.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean?
Sorry about
That's
that.
right. Just
Yeah. For clarity.
just in case anybody at Warner Brothers is listening. Yeah, our logo is based off of this symbol.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, this is crazy. This would be fun to kind of, do more of a deep dive. I kind of always thought that I knew this or I'd heard something of it with lore. I don't know, just different. For some vaguely, I knew in the back of my mind that this was a real
A
world
real
thing. And
deal.
yeah,
I never knew that.
because there's the Nicholas Flamel, there's the Alchemist series. Let me see if I can find this here. There's a whole series, I think, where you follow, the Alchemist. And I believe I almost read it back in the day. I think I think Nicholas Flamel is in that too, and this person like learned from him or something. I never did finish it or get into it, so if somebody knows more about it and I'm butchering it, I'm sorry, but yeah, yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, he so in the series called The Alchemist, he was among his possessions was the ultimate goal of alchemy. He had the Philosopher's Stone, capable of turning metal into gold and so on. So yeah, she just kind of pulled from ancient medieval lore stuff. I mean, she's referencing Merlin, so I feel like and the sword of Godric Gryffindor looks like a freaking Excalibur. So there's that. And by the way, I mean, he who must not be the Dark Lord, all of that is sorry. She's just ripping everybody off. Okay. Just one big rip off, Matt.
According to legend, the 13th century scientist and philosopher Albert Magnus is said to have discovered the Philosopher's Stone.
It's real.
When J.K. Rowling was living in her car writing Harry Potter,
right?
She clearly just had these middle-aged textbooks or something she was doing with to figure all this out.
Yeah, that's wild. So there you go, friends. In case you didn't know that, I kind of
now you know.
Yeah, back in my mind, I was like, I want let's look into him. So then this is all about finding him. I mean, this is the big deal. They're in the library, and Hermione is sort of like, pumped about it. That they find it. Now, it doesn't start off with Flamel. It starts off with this whole idea of Quidditch and freaking house championship. They're playing Hufflepuff. By the way, I have my Hufflepuff book here, my friends. If you're watching the video version of this, I'm just gonna get that right. This is the Sorcerer's Stone, and it's the Hufflepuff edition. I love this book. And let me see here. Yeah, down here at the bottom it says dedication, patience, loyalty. It's got our colors. It's got our kind of sigil on the front. It's great. Love it. Sorry, want to give it. We get beat. I mean, Hufflepuff gets beat in this chapter, and it's like the quickest defeat ever.
They get beat a lot. Another thing that happens here. We're sneaking out again at night, which becomes sort of a thing going forward, all the way until the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're talking a little bit. They're still talking a little bit about the mirror. You see, Dumbledore was right. That mirror could drive you mad, said Ron when Harry told him about his dreams, because he's still thinking about the mirror. They'd almost given up hope of ever finding Flamel in a library book, even though Harry was sure he'd read the name somewhere. I love that it's Harry who thinks that he read the name somewhere in a book, right? It's like, what?
Right,
that doesn't make any sense. Hermione. I think that's a typo. Harry had less time to work on stuff because he had to practice for Quidditch. Wood gives the team some bad news. Right.
Your guy's
Snape's refereeing. Good. Get it. First of all, if it's a match between Gryffindor and Hufflepuff, it should be either a Ravenclaw or a Slytherin referee. You should have impartial referees.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
That'd be like having a national championship in college football between the SEC and the Big Ten, and you got Big Ten refs. I mean, we'd still lose, but it would. Would the calling be fair? No.
Right. No. Well, hey, now, so I mean, now, what if the outcome of this matters? I mean, as far as points and the Quidditch Cup and all that, like, what if they freaking,
then who should referee?
Yeah, I don't know. What happened to Madam Hooch? Where's she at? Is she just,
she
I think it says actually.
Does she ever come back? I don't think she does. I think she's a one-time character.
Let me pull her up. I think she comes back.
Well, wait, you're saying that you think that, well, you can't have somebody from Hufflepuff referee the match. That would be unfair. And you can't have somebody from Gryffindor. There's only 4 houses. I mean, Ravenclaw's got a stake in this thing too.
Yeah, let me see here. Madam Hooch, yeah, she works.
Should Dumbledore just have to?
Hey, well, we know how fair that would have been, right?
Yeah, right. He's pretty much right.
Maybe
you have somebody from the Ministry come and do it.
Let me just see here real quick. Early life, we get it. Okay. Wow, there's a lot on Madam Hooch. We might be doing a little.
What is she ever? Maybe she'll be
I'm
our
down.
extended edition.
Yeah,
I'm down actually to make her our extended edition because I don't think
yeah.
there's any
This
Madam
is
Hooch.
surprising. This is surprising, right? Oh my god.
How many
In the
books has
movies,
she? Hold
definitely
on, real
not.
quick. How many books has she referenced in? It
Let's
should
see.
tell you
So
in the bottom.
yeah, so let me get down here. She's referenced in every single one of them, dude. I think
You are joking.
no, up through Half-Blood Prince. She makes an appearance in Philosopher's Stone. That's her first appearance. She's also in Philosopher's Stone film and in the video game. She's in the book Chamber of Secrets. She's in the video game. She is in the
Those
book
don't count.
and in
The
the
video games
film.
don't count.
She's mentioned in a tour of the portrait gallery on disc 2 of special features for the
Okay.
for the Prisoner of
Yeah.
Azkaban film. She's mentioned in the book or she appears in the Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and that's it. I think after Half-Blood Prince, I think she's out. And then Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, does it count? I guess.
It does. J.K. Rowling said it's
absolutely. I'm with you. I'm with. I actually found that. I found my copy over at the house.
So what was she doing? So what's Madame Hooch doing when Voldemort's trying to take over Hogwarts?
Exactly. Where was she? Let me see here real quick. So at the end of
how do we know that she wasn't on his side?
Let me oh my god, we could speculate. We will save this because I have it put up right here. We'll save it. Wow. This is interesting. This is stuff I have not gotten that far. It's been years since I've read the series, and I don't remember some of this stuff about Madam Hooch. Matt's like, he probably can't believe it. He's just like, this is
ridiculous.
All
right, I'm diving back. All right, let's continue on. Harry is sick by the fact that Snape is going to be refereeing.
Right.
There is something pretty funny here. Ron says, "Say you're ill," said Ron, so that he doesn't have to play, right? Because they think that Snape's going to sabotage him.
Mm-hmm.
Say you're ill, said Ron. Pretend to break your legs, Hermione suggested. Really break your leg, said Ron. I can't, said Harry. There isn't a reserve seeker. If I back out, Gryffindor can't play at all. The Neville ends up coming into the common room, right?
Freaking leg locker. He's all, being bullied and stuff.
I feel bad for Neville. Yeah, Malfoy was messing with him. They suggest to go to Professor McGonagall. He says, I don't want any trouble. You got to stand up to him, Neville. People are walking. It all starts right here, by the way, with Neville.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. You're sitting here thinking, God, this guy's a dweeb. He's a nerd.
Oh my God.
He's getting bullied.
Dude.
What? But you know what? Some heroes don't wear capes.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. And he's one of them. Somebody did the out of a YouTube clip or something where he's diving in there and he's swinging the sword and he's saying, I'm awesome. And he's like swinging, cutting through. Oh my God. I freaking love Neville. But yeah, great line here, by the way, from Harry, who says this. You're worth 12 of Malfoy. Let's go. You're worth 12 of him. Let's, that's good. Bunch of encouragement. Friends patting each other on the back, doing their thing. But yeah, they're wanting him to go report all of this, and he's just he's out. But as he walked away, Harry looked at the famous wizard card. All right, Dumbledore again, he said. He was the first one he gasped. He stared at the back of the card. Then he looked up at Ron and Hermione. I found him, he whispered. I have found Flamel. I told you I'd read the name somewhere before. I read it on the train coming here. And then he goes in the whole thing about him being a famous wizard and his work on alchemy with his partner, Nicholas Flamel.
They do say it at the beginning of the book.
Forever. Yeah.
It's kind of in passing. You're not really paying attention, but it's good sort of...
it's a good
foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's good. Good foreshadowing there. So they end up sort of getting excited, right? I never thought to look there. Then Hermione realizes that she's got a book that she'd checked out. Nicholas Flamel, she whispered dramatically. It's the only known maker of the Sorcerer's Stone. That didn't have quite the effect that she'd expected. The what? Said Ron and Harry.
That'd be you and me.
That'd be what?
Okay,
Yeah.
What?
Oh, honestly, don't you two read? Read that there. She pushed them towards the book. The ancient study of alchemy is concerned with making the Sorcerer's Stone a legendary substance with astonishing powers. The stone will transform any metal into pure gold. It also produces the elixir of life, which will make the drinker immortal. Well, that's pretty weird.
Yeah. It is.
It turns any metal into gold, but it also produces the elixir of life. Sounds to me like what you're saying is that gold is the elixir of life, which really is what you're saying is that
money
buys everything.
Come on now, that's not sending a good message. Yeah, that's I always thought that was interesting that it's connected to eternal life and gold. I'm like, what, really?
Right.
And this is kind of a funny bit here. 665 would be his age. Ron's like, he's not in the recent developments of wizardry because of that. And I just thought to myself, Yoda was 900 years old. He ain't got nothing on Yoda.
Well, when it's the second Fantastic Beast that he's in, right? When it Jacob Jacob shakes his hand and he's like, you just broke my hand because he's like so frail. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't seem worth it to me, man.
Doesn't seem to be looking so good at however old he is there.
What can you do in that state?
There he'd be like 500 years old.
Yeah, I feel like he just barely touched his hand. I don't know.
So it seems like it doesn't sort of preserve you in your current state.
Yeah. Yeah, it just unless he was already super old and that fragile to begin with. We don't know that, but it doesn't seem like that. It seems like he got older and he's, at the end of this, Dumbledore says he's setting his affairs in order because they've had to, kind of make arrangements.
So who knows what he looks like now? That's 100 years after.
Good God, yeah. It's like he keeps living, but does he keep getting older and older? I mean, not worth it to me, man. Sorry.
Yeah. It is kind of interesting, by the way, just on the idea of Nicholas Flamel, that he is this character that is like talked about in this entire book and movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then we never even see him. He's off screen in this entire thing, and he's like a pretty important character to this whole deal.
Right. I do love that the first thing that comes up when you search his name is the Harry Potter wiki.
Right.
Because I went down here to see, death. You figured they would. Because I remember when I was reading, thinking like, oh, he's going to show back up later, or something's gonna. Yeah, between 1992 and 96, is when he died. Jeez. I don't know, man. At the end, does he come back up here?
Is he still alive?
Is he still? The
elixir must just preserves you. It doesn't. It's not like the, I don't know, the resurrection stone.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Sorcerer's Stone is more just an alchemy tool. It is not.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the stone, which I think a lot of people think that preserves your life. It can create the elixir of life, which is an elixir that you would have to use. That is not the stone itself.
There we go. All right, cool.
Unlike the Deathly Hollow stone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the stone will transform any metal into pure gold. It also produces the elixir of life. Oh, how does it do that? Wow. Yeah,
well,
that's going to be
not with metal.
No. That's going to be one of our. We're going to dive down this whole Madam Hooch / the real Nicholas Flamel. It's fascinating. But yeah, my friend. So anyway, they finally figure out who this guy is and what Fluffy is guarding. So we understand that now, and we get that this could be something that Snape's after, because that clearly Snape wants this. Matt.
Yeah. Okay. I know
Clearly.
They do set Snape up to look like he's a villain in the first one, which is actually where we're at now, right? So they're complaining. Harry tells Ron and Hermione, "I'm gonna play. If I don't, all the Slytherins will think I'm just too scared to face Snape. I'll show them. I'll wipe the smiles off their faces if we win. If we win, Harry, should be when we win.
Do or do not.
How good
Win.
of a leader is Harry on the Quidditch team?
Yeah, he's a
Okay.
freshman right now. Okay, he's a first year.
Michael Jordan never says if we win. It's
Wow.
when we win.
Wow.
Okay.
It's true.
I need Harry. I need Harry
JK
to
was
step
a
it up a
big
little bit. I
yeah.
don't think so.
The
Well,
Quidditch
what David Beckham's over there at this time. You know, David Beckham's a winner.
Yeah. Yeah. In her could you imagine if she approached him doing some research here for my first book? Just wanted to
Well, not at that point.
I know, right? Like later on, absolutely
Right.
would have worked.
After the first book, probably. She was
right.
like a mega star.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so going on here, they're talking about how potions lessons were turning into torture. Snape is so horrible to Harry. They're thinking that they think that Snape knows that they know where the stone is. So Harry hardly heard a word of Wood's pep talk as he pulled up on his Quidditch rogue and picked up his Nimbus 2000. Ron and Hermione, meanwhile, had found a place in the stands next to Neville, who couldn't understand why they looked so grim and worried. Now, don't forget it. It's Locomotor Mortis, Hermione muttered as Ron slipped his wand up his sleeve. I know. Don't nag.
Right.
So basically, then we get into the Quidditch. Right?
Yeah. Big game, freaking Malfoy's talking crap. There's a great line here where he's also talking to Neville. They're poking fun about how
Neville says, "I'm worth 12 of you."
Let's go.
Let's go.
I love that. He comes back with that. Harry told him that. That's his friend, man. He told me I'm worth 12 of you. And Harry's out there doing his thing. So, that's pretty awesome. And Ron's trying to, basically this fight is going on between Ron, Neville, and Malfoy and Crabbe and Goyle. And Hermione's out there like looking and saying like, look, oh my God, like there goes Harry. He's diving and the crowd is cheering and so on. Because it happens like this. It's just such a fast game. Hermione screamed. She leaped onto her seat to watch Harry speed straight at Snape. She didn't even notice Malfoy and Ron rolling under her seat, or the scuffles or the yelps that came from the whirl of fist that was Neville, Crabbe, and Goyle. They're getting after it. A little fist fight broke out here, now that she might have actually experienced from a soccer game. Like that might have been
that could be, especially over there.
Yeah, real experience. Up in the air, Snape turns around on his broomstick. Boom, here comes Harry. He pulls out of his dive, arm raised up. He's got the snitch. It's his, buddy. Game is over. Done. And Ron kind of misses it just because they're in this whole fight. And Dumbledore congratulates him. We also missed a one line there too that was kind of cool, which was just that Dumbledore is going to show up for this thing. It'll be okay if Dumbledore's there. Snape's not going to try to pull anything crazy. And actually, they even associate the fact that Dumbledore shows up and they look over at Snape. They're like, oh, he looks even more mad. He wasn't. He just looks mad all the time, but they're trying to make a connection and they're seeing things that aren't there necessarily.
They are. Right. So it ends up going. They see Snape enter the forest. So this is where they're going to go in after him. Right.
Yeah.
And this is where Snape meets with Quirrell. Here. And they never, and we know, like, this is the conversation where he said, you don't want to know why you wanted to meet here of all places. Oh, I thought we'd keep this private, said Snape. Students aren't supposed to know about the Sorcerer's Stone after all. Have you found a way to get past that beast of Hagrid's yet? But Severus, you don't want me as your enemy, Quirrell. And Snape said, taking a step towards him, I don't know what you perfectly well, perfectly well what I mean. And the interesting thing is, then Snape just says, we'll have another conversation. We'll see where your loyalties lie.
Right.
I don't think we ever actually know here what it is that Snape is like, exactly what he means by that, because we just find out later that this conversation happens, but we never get the context of it, because looking at the conversation here, does Snape know that Voldemort's on the back of Quirrell's head?
Ooh, I don't think so. I think Quirrell does have people fooled in this, but I get because what I'm thinking is, like, is he playing this whole, because at this point in time, Voldemort's not technically back, but still Snape's that guy who knew some of these other guys. But Quirrell kind of just is a mystery. Goes out and stumbles across Voldemort and then comes back a changed person. So it's like, yeah, he's definitely like, he's on to him and is trying to say, yeah, well, I'll see where your loyalties lie. Almost like, I wonder if he's playing like, I don't know. Yeah, don't exactly know. Because you can totally see why Harry interprets this as Snape's after the.
Harry interprets it as he's thinking you need to work for me. He's bullying him into working for him. We know, obviously, that Snape is working in behalf of Dumbledore here, but you could interpret that almost as double agent Snape.
Yeah.
And then also
triple agent. Yeah.
Triple agent. This also never comes up with Voldemort. Because clearly, once you get to the end of the series, and Snape is double agenting, right? Or quadruple agent, depending on how you look at it. So I mean, it's like crazy. It never comes up with the fact that Snape, you're basically one of the people that foiled my plan initially to come back. You caused me to have to take more time, figure out this other way to come back.
That's interesting. Yeah, this doesn't really ever come up, and he's right there on the back of Quirrell's head. I wonder how that felt. But just to be, he's hearing all of that. And I also wonder too, if
is he on the back of his head at all times, though? I don't know that he is.
Yeah, I don't know if he's just possessing him or what
because at some point, right, it's like he's feeding on a unicorn, but Quirrell isn't there.
Yeah, and it's weird because at some point, sometimes he is, because they're talking about his turban smelling. They're throwing snowballs at the back of his turban. The twins are. So there's a bunch of alluding to the fact that there's something up with,
Voldemort just getting pelted with
snowballs. Yeah,
suck it.
Great. Yeah. Crazy. It's crazy. So it is so crazy. So yeah, it's interesting. If he's listening to all of this and he's talking to Quirrell and telling him what to do, and because not enough is said by Snape here to figure out which way he's playing this, or is he trying to. Like, does he know that Quirrell's trying to do something for the Dark Lord, and then he's sort of like, trying to help him out or whatever? Yeah, it's a good point. All right.
So, right. Okay. So anyway, well, all that's going on, we won, and I gave Malfoy a black eye, and Neville tried to take on Crabbe and Goyle single-handed. He's still out cold, but Madame Pomfrey said he'll be all right. Talk about showing Slytherin.
I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't laugh. It's just great. I like to see Neville get a little fight back,
Right.
These guys are picking on him.
I mean, this is a pretty significant, I mean, Ron gives Malfoy a black eye.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. In my building, they'd be expelled. All of them. They'd all be out. They're not expelled. They'd be suspended.
How many times does Malfoy get punched in the face by this group?
Yeah, Matt.
Hold on. Can we just look at something here? Ron and Hermione both deck Malfoy in the face in this series.
Right.
And Harry, never does anything to him in sort of like a standoff until he uses Septum whatever.
Yeah, Snape's spell. Yeah. Cuts him up. I'm with you. Yeah,
Septum Sempra.
Yeah, they really do. They do sock him quite a few times here. Maybe it was Crabbe and Goyle who were also kind of, pelting back or whatever. But this is for right now. We should keep track of that. We should keep track of how many times Malfoy has been beat up or assaulted, if you will.
So then they realize they keep going, and Harry tells them a little about what he saw. So you mean the stone's only safe as long as Quirrell stands up to Snape? It'll be gone by next Tuesday, said Ron.
Yeah, be done. Hey, but right into chapter 14, Quirrell, he turns out to be a bit braver, and in the weeks that follow, he is getting paler and thinner, but he is still there. He hasn't cracked. So on to Norbert the Norwegian Ridgeback. Cool. Quirrell's still there. They're still attending classes. Like, time goes on, and one thing we don't mention a whole lot, but like, this book is well paced. And I feel like all the books really pace you through a whole school year, and you're like, all right, cool. which is also nice for the imagination to think like time went by. They went to the regular classes. Hermione's
There is a
redrawing up all
there
their
is a lot
homework
of
notes.
time throughout the whole series that
Mhm.
passes in between chapters. I mean, a lot of
Mhm.
chapters, it's like weeks go by in between chapters 1
Right.
and chapter 2 or whatever, chapter,
Which,
just, from one chapter to the next, I should say.
yeah, and I think it's cool. And I love that there's those markers like a big holiday event or something. And it just, I don't know, it feels cool. It just feels like we can imagine what school was like, just a mundane kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, chilling out. Hermione's redrawing up all their homework schedules, and yeah, it's great. It's great. And here we go, actually. So 10 weeks, she snapped. That's not ages. That's like a second to Nicholas Flamel. And they're talking about the revisions that she's made. And we need to pass these exams to get into second year. They're super important. I should have started this months ago, studying in particular. Should have been studying months ago. So yeah, she is worried about that, and the teachers are thinking along the same line. So this seems to be a whole kind of stretch as they're going into the Easter holiday, where they're thinking about the exams and what's to come. So
They're studying. They're just kind of looking at the teachers are piling on homework, and then Hagrid comes in.
Jesus.
Hagrid, what are you doing in the library? Hagrid shuffled into view, hiding something behind his back. He looked very out of place in his moleskin overcoat. Just looking, he said in a shifty voice. Sorry, that's my Hagrid voice.
That's good. It's good.
Just look. I can't do the Hagrid voice.
Just leave me alone. I'm just looking.
He does kind of have this low grunt.
Yeah.
And what are you lot up to? He looks suddenly suspicious. You're not still looking for Nicholas Flamel, are you? We found him ages ago, said Ron impressively, and we know that he's got a dog gartering the sorcerers. Shh, don't you go shouting about it. What's the matter with you?
Right.
And what's about what's guarding the stone apart from Fluffy? He tells me, all right, come see me later. I'm not promising I'll tell you anything, but don't go rabbiting around in here. Students aren't supposed to know. They'll think I've told you.
Yeah, and this is all. I mean, again, what lures him in here is he's trying to get this freaking book on dragons and stuff, and then, I mean, it comes cool little bit of world building here. The dragon breeding was outlawed by the Warlock Convention of 1709. Didn't know that was a thing, that they were breeding particular dragons. All about the Muggles noticing the wizarding world, if you will. And so, yeah, he's in there and he's grabbing this book and then talking to him about Fluffy, Flamel, all this kind of stuff. And then, as you said, they go down, they knock on his door hours later, calling in there to see what's going on. And they're still on about Snape. They're still all obsessed with the idea that like freaking Snape is after the stone. And we only wondered who had done the guarding, really, Hermione went on. We wondered who Dumbledore had trusted enough to help him apart from you. And then Hagrid's chest swells up there and he beamed at Hermione, right. He's like, well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you that. Let's see. He borrowed Fluffy from me. Then some of the old teachers did enchantments. Professor Sprout, Flitwick, McGonagall, Quirrell, and Dumbledore himself did something. Hang on, I forgot one. Oh, yeah, Professor Snape. Matt, to your point, Snape was he was one of the professors protecting the stone. So how about them apples, right? Harry and Ron knew that, and he is, yeah, for sure. So if Snape had been in on the protecting of the stone, it must have been easy to find out how the other teachers had guarded it. He probably knew everything except, it seemed, Quirrell's spell and how to get past Fluffy. The two things that he needed. I love how they just piece these things together. They're like, well, now it makes sense. That's how he got past Flitwick, McGonagall, Professor Sprout stuff. But Quirrell, it's like there's no other evidence to suggest like he was bullying McGonagall or trying to, like maybe he just figured those out and then he has to bully of all people, Quirrell has the most powerful enchantment that he can't get past. It's crazy,
which is ridiculous.
They are first years, so we gotta,
that is, I suppose, yeah. I suppose that's true. Did Dumbledore, do a good job in hire? That seems like a pretty bad hire on Dumbledore's part.
Well, yeah, dude, the whole defense. Yeah, that's why I can't wait for the next book, because it is so glaring that
Well, Lockhart's a good hire.
on paper he's amazing. I mean,
Well, quite
that is
literally on paper, he's amazing.
hire of the century right there. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but all you hear about him is good things. I mean, even if you interview him, he comes like he's a very charming guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a good hire. Remus Lupin's a good hire.
It's true. That's true. Yeah.
Mad-Eye Moody, not so much.
Right. It's kind of fumbled it
And
there.
then Umbridge, he doesn't have a say in.
Doesn't have a say.
Slughorn's a good Slughorn. Well, he doesn't hire Slughorn to be defense.
Well, yeah, but just still potions master. Yeah.
And then Snape being defense against it. That's a good move.
It's a good move, Matt would say.
This one's probably his worst hire.
Yes.
Which one's worse? This or fake Mad-Eye Moody?
Let me think here. I'd say this one, because at least he really thought that was Moody, and he does get duped there. This is like pretty obvious. I mean, Quirrell, I just I don't know. Where's he come?
He's stuttering. He doesn't even seem like he could teach.
Yeah, I don't know. And this is a pretty important class, man. Not something you would just sort of give to anybody. But maybe we don't know enough. Maybe Quirrell came in, he had a stellar interview, good resume, great references. We don't know. Could have been. And also, hey, just because he's anxious and he's nervous, sweating and stuff, doesn't mean that he's not. Maybe he taught him up in there. Maybe he really, because that's something we don't really get a whole lot of is that in and out. We got some Flitwick stuff. We got the Charms teacher in there doing some things. We get some stuff with Professor Sprout later in the next book and everything. So maybe he really went. I don't know, right? That'd be interesting to know more about how the class went. Maybe he should have won Teacher of the Year, but besides, you know what? As far as we know, I forget where we were reading at one point. Maybe it was the Puffs play where I was watching this or whatever, and they're like, yeah, I think they go into year 2 and they're like, they talk about all the things that happened last year, and it's like all these things that were like super crazy, and they're like, and a teacher died.
Yeah.
And it's just like never mentioned. Like, it's just sort of like they just roll on with it. But the Hufflepuffs are like, we're not safe up in here, like a teacher was killed, like in this school.
How many teachers die?
It's
only 2, I think. I think only 2 teachers.
I mean, Matt, the history of Magic Professor died years ago. He died.
Hold on, I think the only 2 teachers to die would be at Hogwarts would be Quirrell.
Yep.
Does Barty Crouch Jr. die? Does he get killed? I don't think he does.
No, he goes to
He gets sent back to Azkaban, right?
His father gets killed on the grounds.
He kills his father. Yeah.
Right. Jeez. Yeah. Let me think at the end of there.
And then Snape is killed by Voldemort.
Yeah. Yep.
He's headmaster when that happens. He's not a teacher. So is the only teacher to actually die Quirrell?
I'm thinking that, well, what's her name? Muggle Studies professor was kidnapped. Remember? And she was killed in front of Snape by Voldemort at the end. Kidnapped. Went missing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that was a movie, or if that was in the book. I think it was in the book.
That's only in the book, I think. I don't think that's in the movie.
Yeah. Oh no. She was hovering on the table. I think I'm wondering if it's in the book. She was the one hovering.
Oh, she is. Table. She is hovering, but I don't think maybe they do.
I just remember like the whole idea. She was that Muggle study professor, and that's why they.
Right.
She would have us mate with, Mudbloods.
You're correct.
But I don't know if she was in the book though. I can't remember if she was or not, or if she was killed in the book. I'm sorry.
Right. So not many teachers.
Yeah, not many. Kind of a big deal that Quirrell's lost.
Well, I guess Dumbledore is killed too.
Yeah. What's the story on that?
But he's not a teacher.
What is the Daily Prophet reporting about?
So really, the percentage of if you're a teacher at Hogwarts, your chances of survival are really good.
Compared
That's better
to
than flying.
Yeah. 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 I mean, hey, they're trained,
Your chances of getting fired, however, are pretty high because we see a lot of teachers get fired.
especially when Umbridge shows up for sure. And probably needed to be, honestly. But
Quirrell needed to be fired, but he actually
he
kind of gets fired, really.
he is. He's set on fire. uh yeah.
Okay. Diving back in here. So they're sneaking around the castle, right?
Yep.
And they get caught by Professor McGonagall, who gives them all detention, including Malfoy. All right, because Malfoy
Mhm.
ends up sort of catching them. He's out after
Oh
night.
yeah. Yeah.
And so they all get detention, and this sends us to the Forbidden Forest.
Mhm.
Things couldn't have been worse. Filch took them down to Professor McGonagall's study on the first floor, where they sat and waited without saying a word to each other. Hermione was trembling. Excuses, alibis, and wild cover-up stories chased each other around Harry's brain, each more feeble than the last. He could see how they were going to get out. He can't see how they were going to get out of trouble this time. They were cornered. How could they have been so stupid as to forget the cloak? There was no reason on earth that Professor McGonagall would accept for their being out of bed and creeping around the school in the dead of night, let alone being up the tallest astronomy tower, which was out of bounds except for classes. Add Norbert and the invisibility cloak, and they might as well be packing their bags already. So she ends up coming in. Explain yourself, right? You've had Draco Malfoy some cock and bull story about a dragon trying to get him out of bed and in trouble. I've already caught him. I suppose you think it's funny that Longbottom here heard the story and believed it too. So they all get docked 50 points each. She does it to her own house. That's pretty fair and balanced.
Yeah, and she is. This is why I like McGonagall. She's always really just fair is fair. Malfoy thinks he's
Right.
going to get away with this whole thing. Caught him out of bed, out there doing the no. He's also not doing what he's supposed to be doing. So they're all getting rid of, as they should.
So Gryffindor gets put back to last place in one night. They've ruined any chance that Gryffindor has. And basically, we're gonna get our punishment here, which is
Oh my god, one of my favorite lines, Matt. What in the film, and it was actually said at the end of the last chapter. Filch, he was like, "Well, we are in trouble." Like it's just
Sorry.
ridiculous, dude. He at one point is talking about like, I, I don't. The punishment he's describing is kind of like medieval. It's
Well, the punishment they get is pretty ridiculous. I
yeah,
mean,
you're
the
okay.
first thing they say is under no circumstance can any student, which would
Right.
include 7th years, are they allowed in the Forbidden Forest. But you know what? We're going to send our first year detention kids to the Forbidden Forest.
Right.
The blatant disregard for student safety at Hogwarts is something that the ministry probably did need to look into. I mean, does Umbridge go too far? Yes. But was it pretty warranted? I mean, a student dies in the 4th year, Ez.
I know. Dude, you got to go watch Puffs at some point. Every time you bring up these crazy, like really like serious moments, it's just like they sort of emphasize it in the play, and it's so it with the comical.
Does
family
this
also
level
having
does this level of ridiculousness happen at like Durmstrong?
I don't know. I get this all could come down to Dumbledore's the headmaster. I know we sound so critical, but I mean, friends.
It's pretty easy, straightforward stuff to look at and be. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, really. I mean, you're sending kids.
Yeah. Matt, okay, real quick. Professor McGonagall writes in this note, your detention will take place at 11 o'clock tonight. Isn't that like way past curfew and bedtime? Like, why 11 o'clock at night?
Right.
I mean, again, it's just it's outlandish.
Why can't their punishment be cleaning the Great Hall with no magic?
Right. Well, Filch says here, I bet you'll think twice about breaking the school rules again, won't you? So maybe that's what it's all about. It's like this will teach you, right?
You want to
teachers.
Make the punishment, swift and harsh so that it never happens again. And
Yeah.
it
Oh my
literally
God.
happens every book after
Matt,
this.
let me.
Multiple times. It actually happens again in this book.
Yeah, it does. It does. Let me read this though. Phil's just talking. He's like, it's just a pity they let the old punishments die out. Hang you
Oh.
by your wrist from the ceilings for a few days. I've got the chains still in my office. Keep them well oiled in case they're ever needed. Right off we go. Don't think. I mean, come on. First of all, it's highly inappropriate to be
Ridiculous.
threatening
Absolute.
children.
Well, later Ron says, "There's Mrs. Norris. Should I
Uh,
kick her?" I'm like, Jesus, man. Like,
I know. Sorry, guys. We're totally pulling out all of the. I mean, there's some ridiculous stuff in here, and thank God it's a wizarding world. You know, and we try. God, it's just hard to imagine. It's also not hard to imagine. This is also, yeah. Anyway,
okay. So after they get their punishment, right? They're all suffering. Um, Harry's almost glad that exams were far away. All the studying he had to do kept his mind off his misery. He, Ron, and Hermione kept to themselves, working late into the night, trying to remember the ingredients to complicated potions, all of this stuff. Then about a week before the exams were due to start, Harry's new resolution was to not interfere in anything that didn't concern him was put to an unexpected test. Walking back from the library on his own one afternoon, he heard somebody whispering from a classroom up ahead. As he drew near, he heard Quirrell's voice. No, not again, please. All right, he heard Quirrell sob. Next, second, Quirrell comes running out of the classroom, straightening his turban. He looked pale and like he was about to cry.
God, dude, sounds like Snape's just really giving him a hard time.
Then Snape leaves the classroom after.
Wow. Yeah, not good. Not good at all. And it looks like he's about, to get the stone. It's the Philosopher's Stone, of course, the elixir of life, but I don't understand who they're all worried about it, still talking again to Hagrid about all of that there at the end and everything. Yeah, this was wild. The bit too, I think the worst bit was they come across a character in this chapter that I always forget about. Ferenz or whatever his name is, right? Ferenz, he's that like Centaur guy who shows up when like they go into the Forbidden Forest, and that's where they kind of come across the what's been killing the unicorns. By the way, Matt, they're like literally tracking down a beast. This is right. Their whole punishment was to go in there and look for a freaking thing that's killing unicorns.
Yes.
That's a problem. That's a freaking problem. And it's like Ferenz who shows up there and saves Harry and all that good stuff. So I always forget about that group, and he comes back later as one of those Centaurs that should be minding his own business, but intercedes here a bit. So I just want to point him out because that's a character we could also do an extended edition on, because he's way more prevalent at the end of the series, like the latter half of the series.
He comes back.
Yeah, and you're like, what? So anyway, just
I wish we got more centaurs.
Well, we Umbridge does not, right? She had enough.
Right.
Good God.
And I would consider them Fantastic Beasts, but they don't show up there.
No, yeah. Not yet. Yeah. So anyways, man. Oh yeah, and at the very end here, yeah, he has that note just in case he found his invisibility cloak folded neatly underneath when he gets back into bed there and stuff. So yeah, right. Just
so they end up having to go back. Right. They forget about their detentions, right? They're complaining. Hermione's complaining about a whole study night lost. Then when they get there, Filch is there. So is Malfoy. Follow me, said Filch, finding a lamp outside. I bet you'll think twice about breaking the school rules again. It must be something really horrible or Filch wouldn't sound so delighted. The moon was bright, but the clouds scuttling across it kept throwing them into darkness. They get there and they see Hagrid. So now they're thinking, oh, this isn't going to be so bad, right? Mm-hmm. I suppose you think you'll be enjoying yourself with that oaf. Well, think again, boy. It's the forest you're going into. And I'm much boys.
Oh,
It's
he's
so
so
ridiculous.
He's just enjoying it.
He's
So
like loving every second of it.
yeah.
It's the forest you're going into, and I'm much mistaken if you think you'll come out in one piece. Right, the
Crazy.
forest, right? They're scared. That Neville clutched the sleeve of Harry's robe and made a choking noise. That's your problem, isn't it? Said Filch, his voice cracking with glee. Should have thought about them werewolves before you gotten in trouble, shouldn't you?
Dude, you know, I forget too that like Neville's out there with them and all of this too, and
Right.
you're like, okay, wow. Yeah, the werewolves. He's just scaring the daylight
I'll be back at dawn, said Filch, for what's left of them.
for what's left of him. I mean, is there again? They're safe with Hagrid, right? But doesn't Hagrid? They split up at one point, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you allowed to be in the forest or are you not? I mean, I just don't know.
Right, and then right here, you know, this comes up a lot with Malfoy. And to be fair, he does kind of give Hagrid a warning here, and then you know later, of course, it does actually come back up, right? But this is servant stuff. It's not for the students to do. I thought we'd be copying lines or something. If my father knew I was doing this, he'd tell her that's how it is at Hogwarts. Hagrid growled, copying lines. What's that good to anyone? You'll do some of that useful or you'll get out. If you think your father'd rather you were expelled, then get back off to the castle and pack.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, what does Lucius Malfoy think? You know, this stuff right here might be what causes Lucius Malfoy to say, "All right, I'm sending this
Well,
diary
yeah,
next year." They might be
yeah.
like, "What are they doing? What are they doing at this school?"
Well, also, it kind of
And then
goes
he's
into
like, "Here we go. Let me just send this diary."
yeah, and in the next year, and so like when he gets the governors together and says like, all right, enough's enough. You
Right.
start to kind of get it. You know, at one point we debated about doing this whole podcast from another
Was this
perspective.
right? We were gonna call it Avada Kedavra and have it just be like totally from a
Just, I mean,
we
a
right.
Malfoy, you know.
I mean, just think though, right here, you know,
Mhm.
is this the event that causes him to send the diary next year to
Could
decide,
be,
all right, it's time.
could be, could be. His son was assaulted, you know, and then he was again. So that's one thing. Students, it's whatever, right? It's a situation. It's kids, but this was adults that sent them into the woods here, Matt, into the forbidden forest
Right.
where there's a dark creature killing unicorns. They're saved by freaking friends or whatever. Like that's nuts. I think,
Aragog's
yeah,
back there.
yes. How close were they to him? By the way, think about that. Like, how close were they to, you know, Hagrid knows, but they're separated. I mean, maybe the trail leads over by him, and it is just kind of a funny, ridiculous thing. So,
All right, so they lead him to the very, very, very edge. Okay, and then we see the silvery stuff. It's unicorn blood. And we enter into the forest. Right, Malfoy wants Fang. All right.
yeah.
All right, I warn you, he's a coward," said Hagrid. So me, Harry, and Hermione will go one way. Draco, Neville, and Fang will go the other.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, if I'm Malfoy, I'm like, that sounds bad.
Yeah, not good. And again, they're just first years. You know, as much as like Malfoy plays up like he's not scared of anything, he's absolutely terrified. Lets out that terrible scream. Bolted. So did Fang. And this is like we're getting. I'm rolling up here on that hooded figure. You know,
Right.
who shows up?
Where's Ron at?
I'd be scared to death. Let's see. Neville, you
Does Ron
stay
not
with
get
me and Hermione.
detention?
The Fang. Hold on a second. Ron's here, right? Ron not here? Yeah, two spies. Yeah, I don't remember. Thought he was there.
Maybe he's not.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like you read something and you just kind of like.
Mm-hmm. Well, you think? I mean, you know, just going off of the films, you think about
Right.
him being there so much.
Okay, so all right. Well, nonetheless, they're going on. They start to see some things, right? It sounds like a cloak trailing along the ground. I knew it. He remembered there's something in here that shouldn't be. A werewolf, Harry suggested. No werewolf. It was that could do that to you. A unicorn. They get over there. Hagrid sees something. Show yourself. A man, it's the horse, it's the centaur that comes out. It's Ronan. Good evening to you, Hagrid. He says in a deep voice. Were you going to shoot me? Can't be too careful. There's something bad loose in this forest. This is Harry Potter and Hermione Granger, by the way, students up at the school. And this is Ronan, you two. He's a centaur. We'd noticed, said Hermione. They kind of go up, right? Hagrid says that he's glad he run into Ronan because there's unicorn's been hurt. You see anything? He says Mars is bright tonight. Unusually
Jesus.
bright.
Doesn't he say that a couple times?
Right.
Like
unusually bright. The forest has many secrets. Then another one comes up, right? Hello, Bane, said Hagrid. Well enough. Look, I've just been asking Ronan if you've seen anything tonight. There's a unicorn been injured. Bane walked over and stood next to Ronan. Mars is bright tonight, he said. We've heard, said Hagrid grumpily.
God. Yeah. Hey, just to back up here. Yeah, Ron definitely is not out there with him. Yeah, they said goodbye to him. And I'm going to go back to the Charlie bit where they pass off Norbert. You just kind of keep going on there. I wanted to see just why he was left out. I kind of forget.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by it. But yeah, anyways, those centaurs are just, I mean, what does that mean? Mars is, they're just looking at the stars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while that's going on, a red spark goes up. Okay. They basically start rushing over, essentially. That's where Malfoy is. And we begin to see, Malfoy let out a terrible scream and bolted. So did Fang. The hooded figure raised its head and looked right at Harry. Unicorn blood was dribbling down its front. It got to its feet and came swiftly toward Harry, but he couldn't move. Then a pain like he'd never felt before pierced his head, as if though his scar were on fire. Half blinded, he staggered backward. He heard who's behind him galloping, and something jumped clean over Harry, charging at the figure. The pain in Harry's head was so bad he fell to his knees. A minute or two to pass. When he looked up, the figure was gone. A centaur standing over him, not Ronan or Bane. This one looked younger. This is Firenze. My name is Firenze, he added, as he lowered himself onto his front legs so that Harry could climb onto his back. And he says, "You're the Potter boy," right? He knows who he is.
No, yeah. Harry Potter, my friend, the boy who lived. Okay.
Exactly. They get back.
Jeez.
Firenze, Bane thundered, "What are you doing? You have a human on your back. Have you no shame? Do you realize who this is?" Says Firenze. "This is the Potter boy." What have you been telling him? Growled Bane. "Remember, Firenze, we are sworn not to set ourselves against the heavens. Have we not read what is to come in the movement of the planets?" So they never come back to this, by the way, but it seems like the centaurs are understanding like a big, huge astronomical plot going on. This would have been cool to explore further, have it be like a thing like every other book or something.
Yeah, for sure. Two things, by the way, just to bounce back here. Totally forgot about this. That's why I wanted to glance back. Yeah, Ron gets his hand bit by Norbert, and that's why he's like up in the hospital wing when his brother Charlie shows up to take the dragon. So I thought he was up there with them. He's not. That's right. He's down in the. He's not there when they all get caught. So yeah, interesting. Anyways, and then dude, another thing too. When you started off the Forbidden Forest there, and you win a few things. You started reading about Quirrell, and I was like looking at the next chapter, going, "Did Matt jump to the next chapter?" And I was like, "Holy smokes!" That's why I was bouncing all around there in that chapter. Like, I had us already talking about the ending. But anyways, yeah, carry on there, my friend. Yeah, the centaurs. I just went back to make sure we had that in show.
Yeah,
Ron's not there.
Yeah. So they get into a little bit. They talk about what unicorn's blood is used for. It's used in potions. Firenze saved me, but he shouldn't have done so. Bane was furious.
Is the unicorn's blood, is it freely given? I mean,
No,
or are they taking it by
definitely,
force, man?
definitely not really given.
Sounds terrible.
Right. So anyway, so they're talking about the planets. They must show that Voldemort's coming back. Bane thinks Firenze should have let Voldemort kill me. I suppose that's written in the stars as well. Would you stop saying the name, Ron? Just kind of going on. And then they end up getting ready to go to bed. Harry pulls back his sheets. He found his invisibility cloak underneath them with a note pinned to it saying, just in case.
Yeah, there we go. Well, so the whole thing is just a bunch of codswallop,
Yes.
They had to go out here and nearly got killed by a shadow creature who was sucking on a unicorn's body for silver blood. It's radical, man. Just kind of a radical thing. I get why Malfoy is upset, and I don't know that this was acceptable. Things are far worse, right, at Hogwarts.
Absolutely.
Than what?
That's an understatement.
That's almost like our as Matt and I analyze the series and go back through and re-experience it. We're looking at it through that Umbridge lens. Okay, maybe things were worse than we thought, but anyways, cool. Overall, really cool. I do like going back through the books too and just looking up some of these things. Like, yeah, I totally didn't remember that bit about Ron. And when you asked that question, I
totally forgot 100%.
Well, as you're reading it, I'm thinking, well, he's there, right? Oh yeah, no. And then because in my mind, I'm just picturing them walking through and everything, and Ron, Rupert giving him that look in the film, and you're like, it's such a classic kind of scared out of their minds moment, and it's just not even close, not even close to how it all goes down, which is great, which is why it is fun to get back into the books and re-experience all of it, because there is so much more there. Like the films are great, but the books are really, really, the films wouldn't be there if it weren't for the success of these books and all this extra kind of just the day in, day out stuff,
Yeah.
Try to figure out if Snape's a bad guy or not. I think he's a bad guy.
He's not a bad guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Well,
Something's
hey,
up squirrel though, and it's pretty apparent at this point already.
Right, for sure. Now, wrapping up, so that was chapter 15. We'll be back in with 16, 17. Wanted to mention these owls real quick. We had a couple of these. One from Professor Alex.
Yeah, man, let's get these going.
All right. Who is a huge fan of Bend the Knee, Heroes of the Horn, was stoked when we had mentioned the Elder Wand podcast. And so he means no disrespect to either of us, but he cannot abide the disrespect to the house, the head of his house, in Professor Flitwick. I believe you insulted him last episode, man. I don't think it was me, Alex. I just want to go on record saying that. Maybe I did. I can't remember. I have to go back. Clearly, I can't even remember half these freaking chapters, so I probably did say something about Flitwick that I don't remember. Although we do not see Professor Flitwick do anything all that cool in the books or the movies, I would like to point out that according to the Harry Potter wiki, he was a dueling champion and possesses many trophies from his career as a master duelist.
Okay.
Although I do not believe he possesses the same magical prowess as Professor Snape in a lot of areas, I do think he would be able to hold his own and possibly defeat Professor Snape.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. Thanks so much for making my commutes bearable.
Well,
and don't worry. Yeah, I always keep my wand at the ready. Cool.
Right. Well, it's interesting just because they all have it. It would be interesting to see a duel because in a way it's kind of like MMA in that, like, I don't really watch MMA. Like, if somebody posts like a highlight of something of it on it, but the concept of it to me sounds like in UFC, right? Sounds so intriguing because like I get the concept of why it's really cool. Because it's like, okay, well, you start thinking about different fighting styles,
right?
And like how that matches up as like who would win in a fight. So I don't really watch it because it's like pretty brutal. It's just not my cup of tea. And you have to like pay. It's like expensive to watch. But the idea of it, to me, is so cool. Like, yeah, who would win? Like, well, somebody who's a boxer, like a pure boxer. It's
Right.
like, man, if they can hit you once while you're up, I don't know,
Yeah.
man. Boxers hit with so much force, but if they get taken to the ground, it's
Game over.
probably over if they're fighting somebody who's like a wrestler or
Right.
some other kind of thing. So, or somebody's got a judo, they're better at throws. So, as opposed to like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which is like
Mhm.
pretty much the one it seems like you just need to know. So, like, that's all really cool. But I guess the idea is like if these guys had you had time to prepare and you get to bring whatever you want with you to a
Mhm. Mhm.
duel,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool because then in that case, I don't know.
Mhm.
Flitwick could have a lot of stuff. I mean, he could
Right.
Wingardium Leviosa, who knows what,
Who
into
knows
that
what?
fight. And Snape's a potions master. He could use a potion that's gonna make him
He
invincible
could drink. Yeah,
or
he could drink a potion.
invisible.
Yeah.
And then Sprout could bring some sort of plant that's just gonna
Right. Right.
wreck and take over.
He's like poison
So
ivy,
it's
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's all it would be cool. Hopefully that new game that's coming out, let's
Jeez.
give us a Harry Potter game.
Dueling club.
Yeah, give us basically like the Call of Duty for Harry Potter, but you get different class
Oh my
styles and
god.
stuff, and it's like boom, are you going
Oh my
wand
god,
strength? Are you
dude.
going potions? Like, what are you gonna that could be pretty sick.
Roll in with a team 4-on-4. They're out there just
Yeah.
like, this is true defense against the dark art stuff. Like, here we go. That would be cool.
It could be sick.
I'd play. And I know people are like, oh, guys, more than just like, no, that would be cool. I want even in that game, just the long table and the dueling thing. I want to be able to stand up there and practice. All right. If Flitwick can be a dueling master, right, then why can't I get that same education at Hogwarts? Okay. There may come a
Right.
time.
You could unlock different wands. In Call of Duty, it's like people
Oh, yeah.
spend real money.
I know.
People spend real money to buy color gold,
Well,
get their guns like gold plated and stuff.
right. Oh, yeah. You could
You could use the
customize
Elder
your.
Wand. That's
Oh, my God.
DLC,
Oh, my God.
microtransactions.
Well, you know what? I would pay for to make it more Hogwarts related. I would pay for an extra class after school with Flitwick, and he's training me to be, and then you're over there training with Professor Snape, and we're like
All
paying for
kinds of
these
different
classes,
potions.
and we're going in, dueling away. My
I think
God.
there's a missed opportunity here.
Big time. Big time. Yeah, I think it's also really cool. What's the other video game fighter game that you play that where you talk about the style a lot, like in terms of heavy
Like
hitters versus
the Street Fighter.
right, different moves, yeah, different powers and different stuff you can
Right.
kind of do, it depends on which character you're good with. Yeah, I feel like that would be kind of pit them against one another. You got
Exactly.
Harry over here and Malfoy here.
Harry
And
seems pretty well rounded, really.
yeah.
Is he better than Hermione? I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good
Hermione
point.
seems like she knows the spells. Hermione is probably the best of the three of them, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's Harry gets extra sort of points and ability marks because of he's a Horcrux. He's got some Dark Lord in him, right? He's got some extra stuff going on.
After though, post book 8, is Harry better than Hermione?
No.
Doesn't Hermione go on to be the Minister of Magic? I think
Yeah.
she does.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
She's
a big deal. Yeah. Yeah, she is great. And this is what is really cool. They always talk. I love how when Ron and Harry talk about how much they love Hermione and she's so clever and all these different things. And then she gives it back, which is not all about books and cleverness. It's great, man. It's just a great it's good because you need all of it, right? You need all your friends and.
Well, hey, don't we have another?
We do. Real quick, I'll give it to you.
Out
It's
here, yeah.
Just to toot your horn here, because I know we brought, we had Professor Alex getting after us about Flitwick, and then we have, oh my gosh, I don't have the name here. Let me go back real quick. Angelina, thank you. Here we go. This is from her. I really like the podcast. You both have great voices, and it's nice. It's a nice distraction with my long commute to and from work. I just wanted to tell Matt to keep defending Professor Snape. He's my favorite character and has been from the start. Best of wishes, fellow Slytherin, Angelina.
Right. I will continue to defend Snape.
Wow.
Always.
Always. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow. But can I tell you something too as we wrap this up? So we have 2 more chapters. Philosopher's Stone is not the book. You know, I did a reread before we started this podcast. I think I was in right before Costa Rica or somewhere is about. I chose to skip this book intentionally. I went right to the second book, Chamber of Secrets,
That's
because
a
I like.
that's a nice version.
I
Is that
know.
that's a really nice copy
Check
of it. What
that
is that?
out.
What is that?
That
What is that
is
copy?
So that is the Hufflepuff edition. It's got like you can go
What?
get each. Yeah, dude, you can go get you can get a whole set of these. I've been thinking about getting these. All of them. 20 years of Harry Potter magic. It's got dedication, patience, loyalty right there. Hufflepuff, man.
So you're
Yeah.
selling all your vintage Star Wars toys so that you can buy a special edition version
Oh
of
no,
Harry Potter.
this I already had. I
Okay,
already
gotcha.
had this. And I pulled this out from under my bed back at my dad's house. Lottie and I went and I was like, I gotta get my old Harry Potter books. Because like I'm always looking at the PDF here and I listened to
Right.
the audiobook. And I've recently been in chamber. So for me, I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, I can't remember, like especially when we do this, I read way ahead. And this one I totally skipped. And I'm
Yeah.
paying for it in this episode because I'm like, oh yeah, cheesy cow, what happened there?
I did.
Dang.
I read them. They're honestly, I think they're the last book that I have
physical.
that I've read.
Yeah.
That I've read.
Yeah.
Anything post that has been audiobook. So I think that's the last book series I read.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
They're just different experiences. I prefer the audiobook, but man, I dove into these.
Yeah. I think around the time the last couple books were coming out, I was, all of them. That's the weird thing. We didn't get into Audible until much later. So we were reading. Yeah, we were reading like the hard,
I know.
Actually,
I will say though, yeah, because I love the Kindle Audible experience where they sync up and they go back and forth. To me though, if you're gonna do it, the best way to do it, and I think it's better with a tablet or a Kindle, unless you have like a big phone, like they have those new Samsungs that like flip out to basically a tablet.
Right.
Is you can listen to the audiobook while you're reading the Kindle. And it like scrolls along. Oh man!
Oh yeah.
If you really take the time to do it, it's just such. I think it's such a good experience.
Yeah, that is cool. I would actually like to do that because sometimes, like especially when we're reading Game of Thrones or whatever, it's the word like choice it matters. Like really looking at the actual words. Whereas like Harry Potter, I feel like I can just listen, get the plot, get the points, and refresh my mind on things. So yeah. Now, hey, don't forget we have in the extended we've got either Madam Hooch or Nicholas Flamel.
We got to dive into Madam Hooch here. This is ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll dive.
Well, I don't know. Nicholas Flamel is pretty insane. Maybe we'll just do both.
We'll just do a hodgepodge. Bunch of codswallop. My new favorite word. Love it.
All right. Well, hey. Okay. Well, with that, we want to thank you for using the flu to hang out with us. In our next episode, we'll be discussing Sorcerer's Stone Part 6, chapters 16 through 17, which are the last 2 chapters of book 1.
Yeah. Friends, if you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us. And by the way, subscribe over on YouTube. We're doing exclusive content over there. We'll leave a link down in the description. Write that review for us over on Apple. Leave us a comment or send us an email at theelder1pod@gmail.com.
Exactly. And we might be doing, I've been doing a lot of these sort of shorts, YouTube shorts, some of our other stuff, which is basically the same thing as TikTok content. It's kind of fun. And so I will probably, the numbers are just insane. I will probably at some point make a Elder Wand TikTok. And then it'll go on. I can post that to our Instagram as well as on YouTube as well. So be sure to check those out because it's kind of fun just to do even short little just theory questions, just posing a question. So we'll be doing that. I'm actually working on the format on it. So I kind of already got it set up a little bit. So with that, anyway, we will see you soon. And remember to have your wands at the ready.